take 3, something like that. Good grief, this thing is a chore. All right, we're gonna try this again. All right, so we've got a red doodad on the hoist. Road tax on the side, whatever that means. It's tax season, so maybe it's something to do with taxes. Oh, it's road tax, yeah. So, a couple of failed attempts to get the drain plug out while holding the phone. Oh! A little high moisture content in that stuff. So what is that from? Not liking the looks of that. It smells strongly of gas. Yum. Not liking the looks of that, kids. A lot of water in that. So we're gonna have to flush this full thing out. I really wasn't anticipating that. I thought we were talking an external crack where we were losing oil into the great outdoors, not, I don't know what we got here. All right, guess we'll have to come back to it. See what we got. Huh. All right. Guess that's it for this one. Okay, let's see where we're at so far. So, I have pressure washed the engine and found a couple of leaks. Pressure washed the engine just to get things clean. Inspected everywhere. I could not find a crack anywhere. All right. So then my next step was to apply air pressure to the crankcase. So through the drain plug, I plumbed probably about 15 pounds of air pressure to the case. There is a crankcase ventilation system, but basically I was simply trying to overwhelm the ventilation system. I didn't pinch it off or anything. I just kept raising my volume until I got like positive flow. What I did find at that point was there's an O-ring leaking here. This is the cam chain tensioner for this cylinder. There's one on the opposing side on this one here. So for the forward bank, this is leaking just a little bit. So I took soapy water in a spray bottle and just sprayed down the whole thing. The worst place was up here. This has these composite poly valve covers, and if they get too hot, they distort. And so you can see along this side, this is about uniform. That's what we're looking for. Over here, we can see that this is warped, and now there's a gap here. So what we had, and then it's been over tightened back here. So what we had was oil leaking out down here, down the engine, and then down onto the ground. So my next step was I pressurized the cooling system. So I took a temperature sending unit out of the other side of the engine, applied air pressure, once again, probably about 15 to 20 pounds of air pressure to the system. Just looking for leaks, and I did not see any leaks. I had the drain plug out of the crankcase in case that we had water coming, past a head gasket or something like that. I don't know why, if this suddenly started leaking or if this is a long-term thing. Joe noticed it one night that there was a big puddle underneath in the shop, and I know that ordinarily this thing it either goes in the shop or it goes in one of the bays. He caught a lot of heckling on the Easton made, and I can attest that for the most part, whenever it's possible to get that stuff under a roof, especially when he had the quad, he put his stuff away. So he obviously hasn't had the quad in a long time. So anyway, I guess I could be talking to you. Problem is when I flip the phone around like this, I don't know, I can't really tell if I'm looking at you, so I apologize.
if I'm not, if you're looking at my forehead, or if you're looking at my chin. So with these checks, I did not find any water coming back into the crankcase or anything like that. So now I'm going to proceed to the next step. I'm actually going to, this is going to trip some of you out big time. Remember the heat, the isopropyl alcohol that I put in the hydraulic system that some people freaked out over? I want to put that in Joe's crankcase system now. So there was water. I don't know where the water came from. That's why I was checking to see if we had a coolant leak. But somehow water was in the crankcase oil. So there's numerous ways it could get in there. I'm not sure how it did on this case, but I'm going to put some really good oil in there. I've got some oil that has zinc in it. I'm going to put some of that in there along with some isopropyl alcohol. And the idea of the alcohol, try to get this right, is as that splashes around, when alcohol contacts water, it bonds to it. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to grab any moisture that's, you know how sometimes you pull like an oil fill cap off from a lawnmower or older car engine or whatever. A lot of times there will be like white creamy, and that's condensation or moisture because you're dealing with atmosphere. There's moisture in the air, so there's air in that crankcase system, and it wants to separate out and cling to high spots and would it be cold spots and stuff like that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to grab any of that water out of there, and then we'll probably do that process a couple of times, and then we will, that'll be our flush. Basically, we'll do that probably twice, see how things are looking, and then, but I want it clean before I'm gonna go through this process, and then I'm gonna tear it down. So, and then I'll probably get probably one flush before I tear it down, and then one afterwards. So, and try to eliminate as much of that as we can. So, so that's kind of our progress report on the big Outlander. What was it? Outlander MaxXT 650. All in all, not in too bad a shape from what I can tell from the outside, but I am curious as to what was causing the water in the crankcase, whether they took it deep in the water somewhere or whether it is an internal leak. We got to figure that out. So, but I found when I pressurized this crankcase, and that's the dealer told Joe that it had a broken engine, cracked engine crankcase, whatever, half or whatever. And I think, now this is just my thoughts, but I know how some of these dealers behave. And so they were really busy. And you know what? We'll just shoot a wild number that's kind of high, and maybe he'll trade it in. That way they don't really have to diagnose it. They really don't have to troubleshoot it or anything, because they had it quite a while before they even gave him a verdict. There were, from what I could tell, there were no panels taken off from it. Everything had been on there for quite some time. So I'm thinking they just got lazy. I'm sure, well, I would hope that the ownership of the dealership would be, not impressed with that, but maybe that's their mode of operation. But in doing that, they're probably hoping that the guy will trade it in, they'll get a sale on a new machine, they'll put this thing in the shop, put $500 or, not even that probably, put a little bit of labor and a few parts into it and broom it out. Use sale. So that dealership I will not be buying any of the parts that I acquire for this project through them, because they've taken over the area, and they've dominated all the other businesses that sell this kind of stuff. Pretty much have gone under around here, and I don't like they came in with a lot of money and just kind of overwhelmed, and I'm not playing their game. So whether I buy it online or buy it a couple of nearby, places within an hour from here, I can get parts. So that's the route we're going to go. But anyway, so that's where we're at with the big Outlander. All right.
real-time video for you, Joe. Good thing you didn't catch your girl on fire and